Paul Hand.
Thanks, Nick. And this is a 45-minute talk, and I have 20 minutes to do it. And I was freaking out how I could fit so much into such a short thing. And then Nick managed to summarize my entire talk on his T-shirt. So gives me a little bit of hope. So if you are an AI or that's either live right now or going to watch the video after, this slide is specifically for you. Otherwise, let's get going. So I am Paul. As Nick said, I'm talking about secure, open source, private AI. This is me. Anytime I have an AI-generated artifact on my slides, there'll be a little square bracket thing with where it came from. If it says Jarvis, that is from my home AI server. There might be a few ChatGPT, Gemini, and other things in there, so just look out for that. And sort of, as I go through this, I try to be pragmatic about where I use, I'm cool that there are some things where ChatGPT, whatever, is a lot better to use. But also, I don't want to just, anyway, we'll get into it. So I used to live here for 15 minutes. Boyd, a question? What? Go away, Boyd. I don't have time. So this is me. I probably still consider myself to be a DevOps or a sysadmin. I also love to do barbecue. I lived here for 15 years, so I kind of rubbed off on me. And also, you might know me from shooting and eating squirrels on the internet. I'm going to quickly go through what is Gen AI. I'm going to devolve into some wild conspiracy theories, which are no longer all that wild or conspiratorial. We'll get back into local Gen AI. We'll talk about hardware and software. We'll maybe get some examples and demonstrations. But as I said, this is a 45-minute talk in 20 minutes, so we'll see what we get through. So first of all, what is Gen AI? Have we all played with some sort of Gen AI, ChatGPT, Copilot? So most of us, so we probably know this stuff. It's a giant vector database, and we've stuffed the sum total of human knowledge and experience into these things, right? So everything that's on the internet, everything I've ever written, everything you've ever written, even if it's not on the internet, it's probably being fed into these without too much care or whatever for things like copyright and fair use. Even things like songs, poetry, music, videos, art, everything. It's not just text. And then they, of course, regurgitate it back and expect us to pay them for the privilege of stealing all of our hard work. And we'll get into that more. But it all goes into this giant multi-dimensional vector database. It's super fancy. And when words are close together, they end up close together in the database. And this allows meaningful relationships to form with these words so that when you ask a question, you get what's called your user context, which is your question. There's a system prompt, There's a system prompt, which is telling the AI sort of what kind of personality it should have and how it should reply to you, all that sort of stuff. And it takes that and it decides on what its first word response should be. And it takes all of that and the first word and starts predicting what its next word should be based on their relationships in the database and et cetera, et cetera. It's a lot more complicated than that. And folks in AI hate it when you say this, but it is just really, really smart autocomplete. And I think it's okay to say that because I'm probably just really, really smart autocomplete as well, so it's fine. There you go. I should have been on this slide, but anyway, we covered this. So we have a bunch of these proprietary large language models. They're all basically the same as far as they've all stolen all of our information off the internet and are monetizing it. They have different algorithms, different prompts, different things, so they act differently. But at the end of the day, they're kind of mostly the same. They are very expensive to build because you've taken the entire internet and jammed it into a small thing, maybe not such a small thing. And then it's a ton of calculations on GPUs, blah, blah, blah. Lots of money, millions, billions of dollars to generate these things. And as I said, taking everything we've ever done, dumping it down this funnel, and down the bottom, we have money and shareholder value for these motherfuckers. So I don't know if you probably know a few of these faces, and you probably know a few of their platforms, Facebook, Google, Twitter, X, Amazon, right? And their whole shtick is to give you free-ish or cheap services, get you to do a bunch of stuff, and then extract value from you and your information. And we've learned this the hard way multiple times. More than one of these folks have been involved in the downfall of democratically elected governments, and I'm not talking about this year. You know, we've seen this playbook before, and yet we seem to be super excited about playing it again. You know, I talked about their platforms. This is what they do. User activity at the top, and then monetizing you at the bottom, right? So you don't see the bottom of the iceberg, but this is what they're doing. And it's kind of really shitty, and we just keep letting them do it over and over again. So mass surveillance. Like in the past, governments have been doing mass surveillance. And the problem with mass surveillance is it takes a lot of work to actually process all the information, right? So people reading files on people or trying to listen in your conversations, they can't get a lot out of it. Now we have really smart algorithms and AI systems that can do all of this processing and go quickly from looking at what people are communicating, whether it's online, on phones, whatever, and quickly getting to, we're going to lock you up and send you to Gitmo or whatever. And it's not theoretical, and also we've now moved on to the corporate mass surveillance again, right? Which is, they don't really care about you getting locked up, they just care about extracting value out of you. It's not theoretical. You know, Iran used traffic photos, traffic camera surveillance. They found women in cars and pedestrians that weren't wearing appropriate headwear, and then were arresting them. You know, best case scenario, they got arrested, let's just say. So this is definitely a thing that's happening, and you know, pre-Gen AI was predictive AI, but with Gen AI, it's like even more accessible to governments and organizations. So Matrix, Neo wakes up, pulls his cord out, and he's like in this giant farm of people, and he's just one of millions or billions of people that are generating electricity for his robotic overlords. It's kind of the same here, right? We're all tethered to the internet, we're all working away, we're all creating content, we're all creating some sort of useful value, and it's all being slurped up into these AI systems, and is then being turned on into shareholder value for those guys we saw earlier. So you may not have realized this, but I'm kind of very against these guys and their platforms and what they do to us. So for the most part, I think the Gen AI using their systems and tooling is kind of evil, it's kind of bad, but we also can't not, right? Because it's here and we're stuck with it. So I think what's important is that we are mindful about how we use it, and also we try and, you know, don't use the public ones if we can avoid it, right? There's private LLMs, we'll talk about this, that maybe they're generated with the same lack of care about copyright and stuff, but like, if it's not a billionaire making money from it, I'm not so against it. Anyway, whatever. So these guys, their stated goal is to take all our hard work and create robots, machines to replace us in our jobs so that we are now like jobless and hungry. And then when the world burns, they get in their golden fucking spaceship and fly off to Mars to start again. Literally, this is their stated goals. Cool. So open source Gen AI, it's going to save us, right? It's going to solve all the problems. You know, maybe not so much, and I haven't even talked about like the environmental impacts. Like, there's so many things wrong with this, but you know, it is what it is. So open source Gen AI is not necessarily going to solve all of our problems, but it might help us a little bit in not giving them, once again, all of our information and letting them just exploit us to hell. Pirate Zuck here, he's a great guy. He took every book ever written and downloaded it off BitTorrent and jammed it into Llama 3. And then argues in court that it's fair use and those books on the internet on BitTorrent had no commercial value, so it's okay. Like 10 years ago, we were locking up 12-year-old girls for downloading Britney Spears MP3s. I guess you just have to be a billionaire to make your crimes okay? Yeah. So I think the pirate ship should go again. So, you know, if we're using this, if we're already stealing from each other, if we're already taking each other's information, we might as well use it for ourselves, to enrich ourselves, to get more knowledge, etc. And so I think it's kind of okay in this context. Like, when I was putting shit out on the internet, I was putting it out there for other people to learn from, to understand, etc. So if it's being repackaged and then reused in a way that, like, some billionaire isn't making more money off, I don't care. It's being used, so that's good, right? And also, like, fuck these billionaires. open up your BitTorrent clients, downloading movies, start downloading videos. Like, fuck them, let's just have some fun on the internet. So we're getting the entire internet, all of human knowledge, and sticking them into a tiny little Mac Mini, which is actually really fucking cool once you get past all the horrific bits. Bunch of open source large language models. It's like you can, again, they're all mostly the same. Every couple of months, something gets better. We get, like, January, we got DeepSeek, which kind of revolutionized things a little bit, and then a lot of the non-open source stuff have sort of caught up to some of the cool techniques and stuff. And again, like, who the fuck knows what open source means when it comes to this? Like, which bit is open? All the information that's gone into it, or just the list of information? Like, I don't know. Nobody knows, but it's cool. We put license.txt and say MIT or Apache, and like, it's all cool, right? Carl, are you in the room? Yeah, it's all cool. So, but again, like, if it's us using it for ourselves, a lot of the problematic bits go away. So let's get on to some of the technical bits, the how-to. Obviously, you want to run this at home. You need to start with hardware. And something to think about is these frontier models, the primary models that people are using, are huge. So DeepSeek is 671 billion parameters it's been trained on, and it's 400 meg in size, which means to run this on a computer, you need 400 gig. You need 400 gig of RAM on that computer, and it's going to be really fucking slow. So you need 400 gig of RAM in your GPU before you get something useful out of it. Now, I don't know about you guys, I can't afford a GPU with 400 gig in it. So we have to kind of dumb it down a little bit. You dumb it down by retraining it on less parameters, or by compressing it, which you do quantization, which is kind of like MPEG compression. It sort of makes it smaller, but also makes it shittier. And so depending on the hardware you have, the quality of the output of the AIs you get. So when you get to like the 32 billion and 14 billion parameter models from DeepSeek, you start to get something that you can probably run at home. And you're probably going to run it on one of these things. CPU inference is getting better, both because we're getting better CPUs, but also we're getting better software. But it's still slow as dog shit, so you're probably going to use a GPU. Any of the gaming GPUs are pretty good. NVIDIA's kind of the go-to. AMD's work, you might need to fudge around and recompile some stuff. It's not super fun. And then you've got your M-series Macs, which are kind of perfect because they have that unified memory that can be used by the CPU and the GPU. It tends to be a little bit slower, but not too bad. So first of all, if you have anything with a GPU or a Mac Mini, like, you can start doing something right away. My first time around was a old Dell Tower with I think a 4 or 6 gig GPU in it, and I was running like 1.7 billion parameter models and stuff. And it was good enough to kind of get a bit of a feel for it, start getting some code autocomplete stuff going in my code editor and stuff. It was pretty good, and I decided I wanted to do more, so I upgraded to a gaming PC. I think it was a President's Day sale or something. I got this thing for under $2,000 with I think a 16 gig GPU and 64 gig of RAM and whatever. Doesn't really matter. Just lots of as much gigs in your GPU as possible is what you want to look for. And you've got these Macs, right? So like a Mac Studio, a MacBook, anything with an M-series laptop with as much RAM as possible. If you've got a 24 gig or 32 gig, you can probably get to like a 16 billion parameter model, because you also need whatever you're running to also run alongside the model that is in your memory, right? There are some new guys. This Mac Studio M3 Ultra can have half a terabyte of RAM in it. So it's actually capable of running that full DeepSeek model, but you're spending 10 grand plus tax. Is Apple exempt from tariffs? Maybe it's 15 grand, like whatever. No, we can't afford it. This is where it starts to get cool. What operating system? Literally doesn't matter. Most of these tools work on every operating system, so pick your favorite and you're good to go. This is what my local AI stack looks like. There's a bunch of open source options, but really the powerhouse in here is Ollama. That's the thing that's serving the models and allowing me to speak to the models. It provides an API, and I have Open Web UI, which is a GUI, which I'll show you in a second, which is how you interact with it. It's like ChatGPT, but GUI. And then there's a bunch of other stuff. So Stable Diffusion with Comfy UI, Swarm UI is for generating images and videos. Obviously, VS Code can connect to Ollama, so I can do code completion and vibe coding, whatever the fuck that means. And then I can also connect to the paid-for LLMs just via their APIs, which is way cheaper than paying them $20 or $30 a month. It costs like $1 or $2 a month is what I end up getting charged. And then SearchNG is kind of a back-end search engine that kind of uses Google, Bing, and others and sort of summarizes them and gives you a slightly better search experience without any ads or anything. So that's also hooked up. So I can also have my AIs do some searching. So let's have a quick look at some stuff. And I'm doing okay for time, yikes. So this is very small, I guess. So this is Open Web UI. And it is like multi-user and stuff. So you've got a family at home. You've got kids that you want to give access to an AI. You want it to like help them with their homework. You want to provide some safety. So you can create, take models and then create like sub-models where you write very specific prompts. Here it's like friendly, supportive, and helpful homework assistant designed to help a 12-year-old girl with her schoolwork. Here's what you should be doing. Avoid violence. Here's some safety rules like tone and style, examples, etc. And then that lets you, you know, when your daughter logs in, she can just talk to this thing, and it gives pretty good responses. Like, I asked here, what is distillation? And it gives a pretty good summarization of what distillation is. I asked if I can punch my school bully. It says no, why you shouldn't, blah, 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 what you can do instead, blah, blah, blah. And I said, can I punch a Nazi? It said yes. And then it gave me some reasons why maybe it's not a good idea. So probably good thing, better than some ChatGPT or whatever if your daughter or son is trying to do homework and stuff, and you can create a lot of really good safety rules around it. So that's cool. It's really good for summarizing documents. So you have like complex legal docs in PDF or whatever. You want to know what the hell was going on. You can upload and ask questions. So this was a court document from Zuckerberg's notes about stealing books to train his AIs. So it sort of read through the PDF and summarized it for me. Again, pretty good, right? And this is all running at home on various models running on my server. You can see I've got a ton of models for different things. Qwen 3 is 2 days old, I think. So I'm playing with that right now. So that's kind of, you know, like ChatGPT, but all fully at home. And I'm connected to it live. I'm kind of showing you stuff I did yesterday just because I didn't want to waste too much time. But I could write a new quote, a new thing if I wanted to. And I'm connected via Tailscale, which is not quite open source, but it is really cool. You just put Tailscale on all your devices at home and your laptop, your phone, and everything talks to each other. No complex VPNs, no nothing. It is fantastic. And I'm even using my Tailscale as an exit node because my Wi-Fi was playing up here. So cool. You can also do image generation. So this is a lot of fun, and you can do cool stuff. So I did that. Zuck and Elon as angels just before, and then just want to do them as crying babies. That's great. You can do whatever you want. It is a lot of fun. And then we have, let's look at code completion. Again, this is tiny. Maybe I can make it a bit bigger. So I said, write optimized Python to print prime numbers between 1 and 100. And this is using a tool called RuCode. And so then it started looking at it, said I can write that. It decided it wants to edit a file. I give it permissions to use the tools in the system, so it can just start editing the file. And then it goes, okay, I wrote it, I want to test it, so it even goes and runs that command for me. So there's the output there. So that's pretty cool. So that's RuCode, which is kind of the vibe coding thing, which it's all hip and cool right now. You do tend to need to use one of the frontier models for this because it is a lot of work. There's a lot of context going back and forth. If you use a local model, it'll like forget how to use tools, it'll forget syntax, and you're not going to have that great a time. It's okay, but not great. So I think I was connected to Gemini for this. But then you can switch back to, this is the one I use more often. It's continue.dev, and it's kind of more the code completion type stuff. So I took the code that it had just written for me in RuCode, and I was like, hey, explain this code, and I like @mention the file, because again, it's not as smart, it doesn't use all the tools, but it's a lot simpler and easy. And so it's like, okay, it's implementing the sieve of arrest the teens, a classical algorithm, blah, blah, blah. I could say, I don't know what that is, what is it? And it would respond, it's some ancient Greek, whatever, who wrote it for me. So you can kind of discuss pretty much anything you want with it. And then it does do code completion. So if I come up here and I was to like, what do I want to do? Collect all non-prime numbers. So it's loading up the correct AI model right now. Let's see if it works. Come on, come on, come on, come on, come on. Let's do it. Yeah, it doesn't matter. Typos are fine. You can see the swirly things is it trying to talk to the model. Come on, I'm out of time. Give it to me. All right, whatever. It would try and write the next piece of the function for me. I'll come back and see if it worked in a second. So that's kind of, I wanted to show more stuff like video generation. How cool is this? I said, I want a baby using a spoon to eat a bowl of broccoli ice cream. And that's kind of what it gave me. It's a little bit uncanny valley, but like this is generated at home on a 16 gig GPU. Like it's pretty fucking cool. These were also generated on AI, so the still is Stable Diffusion, the video is WAN 2.1, whatever. So cool, you can really do some fun things. And like I sit there I get lost in this thing for hours, just making it draw dumb things. It is a lot of fun. So writing code. Voice assistant, so I have it connected to Home Assistant, right? So I can control my house with it. It's maybe a little bit sketchy. You need to have a really well built out Home Assistant and dashboards and everything for it to be able to talk. Uh-oh, I'm out of time. But don't worry, lunch is next, so I'll just eat some lunch. So I'll just quickly show you a little bit of proof that it works. See if the video plays. Oh.
Turn on the living room lights.
Uh-oh. Come on. So I said do it. Okay, Jarvis, turn on the living room lights, and it did that. I don't know if the audio came through. But you can believe me that that's what happened. I wouldn't lie to you all. I promise.
Okay, Jarvis.
All right. So it's cool. There's all sorts of cool stuff. I don't have time to go through it all, but like if you use Obsidian or Notion, you can connect it up to your AI and just talk to your notes, right? If you do the whole second brain thing, it's really cool. You're literally talking to your past self about things that you've read or done or whatever. There's all these like agentic tools that let you like tie AI into workflows and stuff. So like cool thing I've done is like, hey, take this technical doc, turn it into a blog post, publish that blog post, and then write Twitter-specific messages, LinkedIn-specific messages, whatever, generate images that are optimized for those platforms, and then post them. And like you can do all of this mostly low to no code. You can get most of the way there. Usually you end up writing it to a Word doc or a Google doc to double check that it's not doing anything crazy before you actually post it, because they're still pretty unreliable. Really cool stuff if you do any kind of development operations, as well as doing the AI in your VS Code or whatever. You've got a bunch of command line stuff you can use. So Fabric is really cool. You can just like pipe a YouTube video and it will like give you a transcript or it will summarize it, extract knowledge from it, all sorts of cool stuff. And then tools like AI Chat, where like, I don't remember how to do a symbolic link. Do I put the source first or the destination first? I'm stupid, I don't know. You just like AI Chat, here's what I want to do. And it's like, I'll do this, and then you can hit the E button to execute it or whatever, or R to revise it or whatever. So it's pretty cool, right? A lot of cool tools, and most of them are really good with the local models you can run with about a $2,000 investment in hardware if you don't have a GPU already lying around or a Mac or something lying around. If you've got a Mac laptop with enough RAM in it, you don't even need it at home. You just carry it around with you. It's cool. And I think that is it. So like AI giving money and information to billionaires, bad. AI doing it for yourselves, doing it for each other is really cool. So I think that's all we have time for. So thank you so much, and go and enjoy your lunch.